my gosh, I can't believe how fast things go when we do this mentorship. I'm super excited for today, or tonight, or this morning, whenever it is that you are watching this video. We're going to be talking about how to set a sacred space. We're going to be talking about your home. We're going to be talking about your environment. We're going to be talking about how important it is to connect to nature and the environment around you. So it's going to be a really, really fun time. Now, how this relates, again, just like last week, we were talking about the people in your life and how those toxic relationships or the undercurrent of fear in those relationships can really distract you. And it really does affect your spiritual growth. It affects the ability for you to be intuitive. And so does your environment. Your environment and where you live and where you reside mostly affects your psyche. It affects your willingness to be open and intuitive. And if you are living in an area, or if you reside in a place that's really toxic and really negative, of course you're going to be more shut down, right? And so we're going to talk about how you can create a living space in an area around you that is open and allows you to be open. So it says here in your handbook, your surroundings affect your moods and your energy levels. Our culture and society is not innately focused on inspiring, uplifting, and bringing motivation to you. So it's important that you create a little heaven on earth for yourself. I believe that your home, the place that you reside, should be the one place that isn't affected by the negativity of the world. It should be a safe haven for you and for your loved ones. Let your place of dwelling reflect how you would like your life to be like. So, when it comes to the spirit in your home that you want to be living in, I want to ask you, what this week is where you're really going to get clear about how you want your home to feel and what is invited into your home. Now, when I say that this should be your safe haven away from the world, we kind of need to maybe keep the world out of our home a little bit. Or at least have a space in our home that the world can't reach it. That would be in the form of social media, news, TV, newspapers, anything that's coming at you from the outside. You need to have a space where it's like, this is unaffected by my culture, by society, by the media. It is just the place that I can expand and detox from all of that. Now, I, of course, do not believe that all media is bad. I'm in the media. I'm in the media with you right now. But I'm talking about any kind of fear-based news, negativity, or anything that's just going to promote, unsettling feelings for you. And how we do that, how we start to decide what we want our home to feel like, is by doing an assessment right now. So if you were to go through your home as if you didn't know who lived there, as if you were a stranger, what would you say about the person who lived there? Would you say that they were messy? Would you say that they were chaotic? Would you say that they were spiritual? Would you say that they were blasé? Would you say that they were a good decorator? Would you say that they were healthy? What are the kinds of things that you would say about the person who lived in your house if you were not that person? And what is your home reflecting about your life right now? What kinds of pictures do you have on the wall? Do you have anything that's motivating you up, in the form of like a dream board or a goal board or a whiteboard or, motivational sayings or pictures and things that speak to your heart? Or are they all just kind of like generic? I've walked through generic places, and I'm sure you have too, where it's like, okay, there's a pretty picture of like a tree or something, but there's like no meaning behind it. And there's nothing wrong with that kind of art. But what does your house feel like? What does it look like? And overall, is it telling the story of who you really are inside? Is it reflecting the kind of life that you want to live and the kind of person that you want to be? Now, the reason I pose the question like that is that we're always evolving. We're always changing. We're always growing. So I know that there's a person that you are growing into. I know that there is a phase of life that you are walking towards. And one of the best ways that you can get there is by arranging your environment and the world around you to reflect where your goal is, where you want to be, and who you want to be. And does your home welcome negative and dark energy? I just want you to ask yourself that. Does my home accept and welcome negative or dark energy? If you're not sure how to answer that, unfortunately the question is yes. Because your home is like a castle, and you are the king or the queen of that castle. And the king and the queen should be fully aware of what is coming in and out of their home, out of that castle. And if they're not aware, if they're like, I don't know if there's negative or positive energy in my house, then negative and positive energy is in your castle. And a good king or queen will draw up the drawbridge, so to speak, create protection around the home so that negative energy cannot come through unless you're aware of it. If that makes sense. And I'm going to teach you how to do this. One of the best compliments I ever got from anyone was someone who came to my home and sat down and looked around and said, "It feels like a temple in here." Now, mind you, I have kids, I have animals, we have our daily life. But it was such a compliment to be told that my home felt like a temple. When I asked, what does that mean? They just said it just feels like a holy place, a place of solace. And that person was right in the fact that that has been my intention with my home. It is a place that is the safe solace, is the place that, anybody could come into my house and feel that peace, hopefully. But I'm very strict energetically at what can come in my house. And I've even had it set up so that, anyone that does carry negative energy, we all have a streak of negativity or, whatever, that it just stays at the door. So they come into my house and they feel good because their stuff, their baggage, their darkness wasn't able to come into my home. When you set your home up to be a peaceful place and a place of solace, of rejuvenation, it's really important that you understand that your home needs to have nature in it. It's interesting that, you look at the ancient times and maybe humanity before we started building the kind of houses that we have today. Our houses were made from nature. Even until like log cabins, right? I mean, we always knew that we could go to Mother Nature for our home to create our sanctuaries. And the kind of houses that we live in today really are designed to disconnect us from nature. It's to disconnect us from the sounds of birds, from natural sunlight and moonlight. And there's no windows at the top. That's why skylights are so awesome. But, it just is really, even when you make a house look homey, it's still very industrialized. And you have to understand that your body, your physical body, is a part of nature. It needs all of the elements of nature to live in order to really thrive. And when we use these walls and this cement and all of the stuff that we use in our housing and the synthetic carpets and the fake lights and stuff, we really do just start disconnecting from our true home, which is Mother Earth, which is the planet. It amazes me that when somebody comes to me for a reading and they start talking about the anxiety that they feel, the depression that they're experiencing, the intense feelings that they're feeling, and I ask them, when is the last time that you felt nature, like organic material, trees, fresh air, water, like wild water from a brook or a stream or a river or an ocean. So many times I cannot tell you that they cannot answer that question because they cannot remember when. Some of the happiest people I know will take time to spend time outdoors connecting to nature. Their bodies need it. And I'm fully convinced that if we do not have regular interaction with nature, that we do start feeling anxious. Our bodies do start feeling depressed and down, and everything around us in our home is dead. You need to put life in the home. Plants, fire, water, air. These are the, earth in our home, things that are alive, the elements, right? So a lot of what we're going to talk about today are the elements and how important it is for you to bring those into your home. And, if you want to study feng shui or, things like that, that's great. But my system and what we're talking about today isn't so much feng shui as much as it's just we need to bring those elements into our space in order to feel alive and feel grounded. And our homes need to have nature inside of them. Another reason why you want to stay connected to nature is that everything that is connected to nature, everything that is a part of nature that hasn't disconnected from her, receives everything it needs. I mean, look around you. Everything is growing outside without money or fame. You never have deer coming up to your door, knocking on the door and saying, there's not enough out here. Can I have what's in your fridge? Birds don't come tapping at your window. We need some crumbs out here. It's an abundant world out there. Everything that is hooked into Mother Nature is receiving everything it needs, from shelter to food to nourishment to fun to lushness, everything. As the human being has progressed out of the connection to nature, we've started to believe that everything we need in order to survive is coming out of Walmart. And we forget that Mother Nature is the cause of all of it, the root of all of everything that we need to survive here on Earth. And we can bypass Walmart. We can go, so weird, like I can't believe I just said that. We can bypass Walmart and go right to Mother Earth and begin to connect to her in energetic ways to help us to feel like we are receptive to abundance in our lives. She knows what the human being needs to thrive. And she's willing to give it to those who are plugged into her, planted into her, and who are connecting to her and taking care of her. The other reason why it's really important to connect to nature is that nature has its own cycle, its own rhythm, its own way of doing things that, again, as human beings, innately, we are connected to that. But through time and progression, we've disconnected from that. And now our timing doesn't feel good. They call it the rat race. The 9 to 5. They get up, work your ass off, do everything you don't want to do, when you don't want to do it. It's not your timing, it's not your phase. Because you got to get your stuff from Walmart. Right? And we've just disconnected from the natural cycle and rhythm of nature. In so much that we don't understand our own cycles and rhythms. We don't understand the cycle of life. And we fail to realize that everything comes and goes. There's a releasing and a regrowing. So one of the best things you can do when you spend time in nature is notice the cycle. Outside of my bedroom window, there used to be, in my old house, there used to be this beautiful bush that grew every year. And it was a bush that bloomed these gorgeous white and pink flowers. And I loved all the time waking up and looking out that window at the process that this bush would go through. Twice a year, it would bloom, wilt, and drop off. And then bloom, wilt, and drop off. And never once did I see the bush hold on intensely to those blossoms. Do not fall to the ground. No. It was so willing to allow the cycle to take place, and when things needed to die, it would let it go. Because it knew that those petals would go into the ground and create more nourishment for more to grow. And it never said, oh no, I don't want to bloom right now. I'm not blooming like the bush next to me. I better hurry up and bloom. I'm going to be late. No. It just did what it did. Twice a year. Bloom, wilt, die. Bloom, wilt, die. Are we no different? Do we not go through phases in life where we are blooming? And here's the new thing. And it's beautiful. But do we not mess it up by saying, I'm not doing it right. I'm not doing it like her. I'm doing it too fast. I'm not doing it fast enough. And then do we not have a wilting process in our life? When time has moved on and something has gotten old and something must go. And do we not mess that up? No, I can't let it go. I have to keep on to it forever. I've got to make this work. Got to make this work. There is no mourning, as in like crying mourning, in nature. When it's time for an animal to die, it dies. You never see a decrepit wolf walking around like hanging on for life. No, it's time for the wolf to go. He goes into a bush and he surrenders himself to the earth, only to be born again. So there's so much that we miss out on, and there's so much misalignment and so much strife and pain and drama that we put ourselves through when we are disconnected to the cycles and rhythms of our life. And then if we ever step out of that and work the world's, society's cycles and rhythm. Nature does not push or strive to make anything to happen. The way things are born, live, and die is effortless. There is a divine timing and an ease to everyone, or to everything, as we connect to nature. And let go of the need to be overworked, the need to be overwhelmed, and as we step out of that rat race. So, how do we apply that into our homes, into our environment? Again, assess your home. Knowing what you know about nature and how important it is to our well-being, to our health, and to our mentality, what would you say about the person who lives in your house right now? As you walked around, would you say this person is nature-oriented or has nature involved in their life? This person, or are you barren of nature in your home? Now, in our process today, I'm going to call in the 4 directions. This is a blessing on the house. And I am doing this for you, for your place of living. Now, if you're watching this video and you're like in your car or you're not home, it still applies to your home, okay? Because that's the energetic intention that I have. And when I call in the 4 directions, each direction is kind of related to an element. So, you know, like when, and I'll tell you why I'm calling in the 4 directions. It's a protection that is around your home. Indigenous people from all walks of life, from many faiths, have known that as they are setting up an energetic boundary to the world, that it's direction-based. It's protection from the north, protection from the east, protection from the south and from the west. It's just that beautiful space that you create by honoring all of those directions. And each direction is kind of associated with an element. So as I'm calling in the 4 directions, I'm also going to be calling in that element into your home. The energy of that element into your home. And what I want you to do from that is to find something that is going to represent that element in your home. So I want to go through the elements and how you can bring that element more into your home. Now you can do this however you want. You can bring in the elements into each room or just in your house in general. You can correlate them to the direction if you want, or not. The idea behind this is so that you can walk through your home and be proud to be a part of this planet, to be honoring the elements of this planet, to be connecting to them in your home. This is also to help balance you. Because as I go through these elements, I want you to see that your physical body and your life correlates with the elements as well. Yes, your body has all of the earth's elements in it. Minerally, energetically, physically. And so this is a way to just create that cohesion so that when people walk into your home, they feel that peace. They feel that this is a temple. They feel that this is a sacred space. They feel that it's balanced. It's hooked into Mama Earth. It's not been separated. It hasn't been disconnected. And when you walk through it, you've got this feeling of Mother Earth blessing you, aligning you to her cycles and rhythms and to her abundance and her nourishment, like you really are participating in the planet, like all the other animals and all the other nature. So let's go through this. Let's start with North and the element of Earth. So Earth, we want to bring into the home, the element of Earth. Earth represents in our personal lives the material world, money, school, education, career, job, okay? So if you're having an issue with those things in your life, you want to pull in earth energy into your space. You want the physical part of the earth. So the way that you can do that is get things from the earth. So like stones, crystals, gems, they all represent the earth element. Earth is also represented by strong earthy animals like bison, elk, and bear. You can honor the element of earth in your home by having stones, rocks, antlers, or colors of the earth like brown and green, or even like the orangey terracotta type of brown, like the brown that's in southern Utah or like the desert. Trees and plants that grow roots, so just having actual soil in your home with a plant growing out of it is really smart. Other symbols that represent earth energy are gold coins, because remember the earth energy, the earth element represents your physical life, your material life. So gold coins, flowers, circles, spirals, elves, fairies, and all the elementals. So if you have pictures of fairies or fairylings, you know, those kinds of things. But most of all, those are some ideas. But if you want to invite the earth element into your home, I want you to take a moment and just close your eyes and ask yourself, what do you need in your house to help you connect to the earth? Is it more plants? Is it more sunlight? Is it a color? Is it a picture of an animal or an animal of some sort? Pets? If you don't have a pet and you feel like you can take care of one, I'm a huge advocate of having a pet. All of our pets bring in fairy energy because fairies are the animals' guardian angels. And fairies definitely connect you to the earth. And animals will always connect you to the wild part of Mother Nature. Especially if you have wild kitties like I do. Okay. Now, I'm just going to warn you right now, if you're like a little bit confused, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, just hang with me because this is a layered lesson where I'm going to kind of go through this by the time we call in the 4 directions, and you're going to have an idea of how you're going to be doing this, okay? So just hang in there. Let's talk about the East, and let's talk about the element of air. Air in your life represents thought, wisdom, ideas, and communication. So if you're having an issue in that area of your life, you probably want to bring more air element into your life, into your house. Air is connected to your soul, to your breath. And I say here it's linked to communication, wisdom, thought, and focus. And the east actually represents newness, because you know how the sun rises in the east. It's like that newness. The animals represented by air are the winged ones. So anything with wings, eagles and hummingbirds and the condor, doves. Doves are one of my favorites because they just represent peace and they're just so pure and wonderful. So, you can have pictures, or you can even have a bird in your home. Just keep them away from your cats if you have cats. Air is light and feathery, so feathers can represent air. It's refreshing. It's literally opening the windows and the doors of your home and just airing it out. Having fans, perhaps, in your house. Other symbols that represent air are light pastel colors, white, winged things like angels, swords, oddly enough, and again, feathers. Okay? So let's talk about the south and the element of fire. Fire represents passion, sexuality, creativity, and purpose. So again, if that's an area of your life that you're like, I'm a little bit not so much fire, you might want to bring some more element of fire into your home. The animals represented by fire are fire-breathing dragons, the phoenix, the lion, and the salamander. It's represented by reds, oranges, golden colors. I mean, just think of fire, all of those fiery colors. Candles, obviously, a fireplace. Wands. Shapes of triangles and pyramids also represent fire. And finally, the west, which is the element of water. Water represents our emotions, our spirituality, and our intuition. Now, if you're in my mentorship, you are definitely working some water energy as far as you're developing your intuition. You're on a spiritual path. And water in your environment can help with that. It's used for cleansing and healing and replenishing. It's represented by water creatures like mermaids, dolphins, sea turtles. Also, seashells or anything looks like it's coming from the beach or an ocean or a lake or a pond. What's interesting is that, like driftwood, then you get the element of earth and water kind of in there because it's been in the water so much. Dark colors, dark blues, indigos, and black all represent water energy. Other symbols are mirrors, cups or goblets, and wavy patterns. That brings the water element into your space. Little fountains. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those little tabletop fountains. That brings the water into your space. Pictures of the ocean. Or just even like this color in back of me is very watery. Blues and especially if it's dark. I mean, I've got dolphins on here and it's kind of got that wavy pattern. It's very much that water energy. So ideally, you want to use some of these symbols and some of these things to bring the elements in. I'd love literally I think everyone in their homes need to have like plants, candles, fountains, and crystals. I know you're gonna look like a I don't actually care how you look. It's just gonna feel better. And you care how it looks, so it needs to kind of go with the flow of your house. I had one student that took this and she just started buying all this stuff and she's just putting it in random places. And actually she wanted to put them in correlation to, the directions, but it didn't look good. She had like all of these feathers on the east side of her wall and all of the candles on the south. Like it didn't go well. And she's like, well, I did it. And I'm like, but you don't like how it looks. So you've got to just kind of like mix it in with your decorations. And why not decorate? I mean, if at the beginning of this, and I said, what would you say about the person who walked through your house? If you are not a vibrational alignment to the way that your house is decorated or the cleanliness of it or the organization of it, you're not going to want to be there. And then it's like, well, where do you go? Right? Where do you go if you can't be in your home? And then we don't feel like we have any place that we can rest and let our gut out and be ourselves. And we feel like we don't have a place to go to really pray You know, I mean, there's churches and synagogues and temples and stuff, but you can't go to that place at 3 in the morning when you need it the most, right? So your house has got to be cohesive to where you're at in your life and where you want to go. And it's got to be a part of this planet. You've got to bring Mama Earth into your house. Now, the second step of this is within your sacred home, within your home that is protected and cleared and peaceful, to have, even within that, your own little sanctuary where you do your spiritual work, where you meditate. Perhaps you have an altar with crystals, with your goals, with your dreams, with a journal, with your intentions, with blessings that you keep, maybe your angel cards or your spiritual books on. That place that you go time and time again to do your spiritual work is even best. And in our time together this week, I'm going to specifically show you how to set that up and to create a vortex in that area so that when you walk into that area, you feel instantly connected because the energy there is so purified. But for today, I really want to work on just your home, okay? So calling in the 4 directions calls in Mother Earth, calls in those elements. It also creates protection on all sides of your home. And I believe in this process so wholeheartedly. I have seen it done in ceremony from different faiths. I've seen it done for the blessing of homes, for the blessings of sacred spaces, and it is a real thing, and it really does bless your environment. So when we honor the 4 directions, we're also, like I said, inviting those elements in. Above and beyond that, this isn't in your manual, and it's something that you're probably going to have to take some notes on, and we can have more discussion of this later if you want. But I will go through and tell you guys the energetic makeup of my home. And I've never done this before, so the people that have taken my mentorship before and they're watching this video again, you guys are probably like ready to take notes, because this is something that I just don't reveal to every single person, but I feel very inclined to tell you what the makeup of the energetic grid around my house is all about. Now, the reason why it's so powerful in my home is because it is done every single night. And so the first time you do this, you're probably going to be like, all right, I guess I feel a little different. But the more times you do it, it's like, you know, when a deer walks the same path over and over and over, and now you've got this well-worn path and you can definitely see it. That's what the energetic makeup of my own home is like. So here's how it goes. I visualize a golden chain link fence around my home, but it is shaped like a pyramid. So it covers the base of my property and it goes up to a point. And it looks like a chain link fence. So if you can just think of like someone like putting 4 poles up, almost like a teepee, and putting a chain link fence around that, and it comes to a point, that's the energetic grid around my house. And I literally meditate on it. I just sit in the middle of my home and I put up that grid of golden chain link all around my house as a golden pyramid. Then I ask for 4 guardians to stand at each direction. So when I call in those 4 directions, you can imagine a big, huge guardian angel standing like this, looking out into their direction. Tell me that wouldn't be intimidating to anything dark and you know, scary, right? And they stand there guarding my home. And then from beneath my home and coming up through my home, I intend for a violet flame that consumes my home. Now the violet flame, I want you to go do some research on. You can Google it. It's, again, I could probably do a whole mentorship on just that. But the concept of the violet flame is that it was a gift from the Ascended Masters to us to use. And all you have to do is just intend that it be there and ask for the violet flame to be in your home. Violet flame, violet is a very high vibrational color, and it's probably one of the highest vibrations of all. And the violet flame, what it does is it transmutes all lower energies into high vibrating energies. So it's not blocking, it's actually consuming. So if anybody with negative energy comes in my house, if I'm in a bad mood, my kids, if anything's just off, I know that it's being consumed by that violet flame and quickly transmuted into high vibrating energy. So the energy stays here, but it's just changed to positive energy. It's changed to positive vibrations. So tonight when you go to bed, after we call in the 4 directions, try it. Visualize chain link fence or golden pyramid, however you want to intend that. Ask for the 4 guardians to come guard your house, and ask for the violet flame to be ignited in your home and that it begin to burn away all negativity, transmuting it to high positive frequencies. Do this every night. Try it for like 2 weeks and just see how things start changing in your home. See how there's, you guys, I am not lying. I'm a mother of 2 boys. There is no conflict in my house. I know that that's really weird, and I don't really tell a lot of people that because they're like, oh, we don't believe that. There's always, snotty teenagers, kids having fits. Doesn't happen. It is literally so peaceful here. And if there is something wrong, we talk about it. We sit down, we spend time with each other, we talk out our problems, we talk out the issues, and nobody's throwing fits, nobody's screaming for attention. There's just not that air here. And I truly believe that that's possible for everybody. So if you want a house that does not have conflict, get the conflict out of your house. Clear the energy. Now, some of you might start asking about different ways that you can clear your house. We're going to talk about that in our time together. I'm going to talk about how to sage or use sage to smudge negative energy. I'm going to talk about crystals, a little bit more of like what kind of crystals that you want to have in your house, where you can put them. I'll talk about how to spray sea salt, around your house, just different ways that you can kind of keep the energy clear. And just like your body energy, like we've been talking about how clearing your energy, cutting cords and things like that, you've kind of got to be habitual about it at first, but pretty soon your energy around you will start to just be that way. It gets used to being clear, so it's just clear energy. The same thing will happen with your physical surroundings. If you clear it enough, pretty soon you're not going to need to clear it anymore. It's like the energy understands that this is the way you want it. Now remember, you're the king or the queen of the castle. What you say goes. If you say this is a clear home, this is a non-conflict or a conflict's normal, but like non-angry home, okay? This is a peaceful home. I mean, like, damn it, I mean it, right? And you have literally infused love in all the corners of your house. It will start operating that way, but you have to assume the throne. You can't give that power over to anybody else and be like, oh, I really hope nothing bad enters my home. Or I really hope that, we can stop fighting one day. You've got to be really assertive and just say, there is none. In relationships, my ex-husband can attest that when we had a problem, we would bring it to the garage and be like, all right, this is going to turn into an argument. Let's bring it to the garage. We would fight in the car. But I'll tell you that there's something that happens as you're walking out of your house and into the garage and getting in the car. Sometimes you can kind of cool down and cool off and you can think about what you're going to say. And the respect that you have for your home is reflected in the respect that you have in your relationship. I mean, if you've got to go in the car to yell something out, there's something wrong, and that has to be dealt with. But what's cool is that if you both know that you can't get out of the car until you're done arguing, the argument will stop. And then you can go back in the house and feel peace and rejuvenation, and the house can feed you the love that you've been putting in it for all this time. It makes the conflict go away or resolve faster and more harmoniously. So this stuff really works, you guys. I could talk about it. I could talk about this all day long, and I am writing a book about it. So hopefully this can be a good start for you, and then you can get my book later. So let's get to it. We are going to call in the 4 elements, and then I am going to walk you through a meditation. So I'm thinking about, I'm going to go ahead and put that all on the next video. So go ahead and you can turn this one off or it's going to end. And then I will call in the 4 elements because I assume that you're probably going to want to do that again. And then we'll do our meditation along with that, okay? So see you back here in a minute.